All right, so my name is Shannon, and I will be talking about my research on tire wear particles. So, have you ever wondered where your tire tread disappears to when it's time to replace your tires? Car tires lose up to 30% of their tread during their lifetime. So, where does it all go? Well, your tires lose tread over time due to the friction between the tires and the road surface. This friction causes the tread to fragment off your tires and become tire wear particles. These particles are less than 5 millimeters in diameter, black in color, and cylindrical in shape, as you can see in the magnified sample. The tires that these particles come from are a blend of natural rubber and synthetic rubber containing fillers and additives such as carbon black, oils, and zinc, some of which are toxic to aquatic organisms. And because they contain synthetic rubbers, tire wear particles are considered a type of microplastic. They're actually the second most abundant microplastic type in Charleston Harbor tributaries. But how do these particles get to the harbor in the first place? Well, we first need to look at where they're produced, the streets. So tire wear particles accumulate on the road during periods of dry weather. However, during rainstorms, these particles can be picked up and transported by stormwater runoff. South Carolina experiences frequent flooding from these storms due to its low elevation. This is where stormwater detention ponds come in. Ponds designed to control flooding by collecting this runoff. The runoff, and by association tire wear particles, leaves the street and enters the pond through the stormwater outfall, as seen as a series of pipes in this picture. At this point, many of the particles will sink and settle to the bottom of the pond due to their high density. However, during these rain events, the particles can also become resuspended in the water and spill over into the pond's receiving tidal creek when the water level gets too high. These particles then travel down through the creeks where they can be ingested by aquatic biota like shrimp, fish, and oysters. So this brings me to the purpose of my thesis research. My first objective is to determine the contribution of stormwater detention ponds to tire wear particle abundance in the receiving tidal creeks. I've collected water and sediment samples from 5 ponds and their tidal creeks, and am making comparisons between them, as well as between the different ponds based on land use, speed limit, and road conditions. My second objective is to determine the sublethal effects experienced by grass shrimp due to long-term tire wear particle exposure. I'll be rearing grass shrimp larvae in the lab and dosing them regularly with these particles for a total of 10 weeks. I hope to gain insight into their toxicity by analyzing the shrimp's development, growth, and stress response. As an emerging contaminant of concern, it's important to study these particles to understand how they behave in their environment and how exposure affects aquatic organisms. These results can inform coastal decision makers and stakeholders so that they can implement better pond infrastructure and management. Through these results, I hope to shed light on the sources, sinks, and pathways of tire wear particles from the streets to the creeks.